Hey, I'm Zeke.
And I'm Brian.
And you're watching Two Guys Talking Home Buying.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Two Guys Talking Home Buying. We're glad that you're here. If you're not familiar with the show, our purpose is real simple. We want to help as many renters as possible to become homeowners, and not just to buy their first home, but to help them go through the home buying process and have fun with it, and not to be so stressed out. A lot of people get stressed when they buy a home, especially their first home, and so we want you to go through the process and enjoy it and have fun and really kind of celebrate your accomplishments. So we cover all 9 steps of the home buying process on our show. And we dig deep into different topics within each of those 9 steps. And today what we're going to specifically go into is
touring homes, which is step 4 of the 9 steps to purchasing your first home. Hey everyone, I'm Zeke. I'm the social media director here at Showcase Agency, and I'm also looking to purchase my first piece of real estate this year. I have a lot of questions, and I'm very excited to get started in this episode. So yeah.
Yeah, very cool. And my name's Brian. I'm the president and co-founder of Showcase Agency. We're a real estate and mortgage company, so that means we help people to buy homes, sell homes, and to get home financing. And I co-founded the company with my wife Karen back in 2017. And Karen's been a licensed realtor since 2001, and I've been licensed as a loan officer since 2005. So together we have over 38 years of combined experience. So we're super experienced with this, especially first-time home buyers. And when Zeke was shooting our other videos where he's normally behind the camera, he had a lot of great questions about first-time buying. That's when I found out, he was planning to buy his own home, first piece of real estate here soon. And we just thought it would be a lot of fun to get in front of the camera with his questions. If you're a first-time home buyer, you might be able to relate to some of these questions. And today what we're going to really dig deep into is step 4, touring homes. Stick around to the end. We are going to cover a viewer question, and we've got a couple of great offers for you as well. So hang around till the end. But let's go ahead and get started. We're talking about step number 4 in the process. You're touring homes. And Zeke, what's the first question you've got?
Awesome. How many homes should I tour?
Okay, so there's no set answer on that. It's, you want to go see all the homes that interest you that are available. So that might be 2 homes or 3 homes. It could be 1 house or whatever. Some people end up making an offer on the very, very first house that they see. And sometimes they're a little nervous about that because, sometimes they're nervous about not going to see other houses. So sometimes they'll go look at 2 or 3 houses, but they end up making an offer on the first one. So there's really no set number to how many you should see. And definitely don't feel nervous about putting an offer in on the very first one you see. Sometimes that's the one that's the right one for you.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Okay,
You're welcome.
Moving on to my next question is, can I tour homes without my agent?
So yes, you can. So when so if you have an agent, you really want to let your agent know what you're up to if you're planning to go drop in some open houses over the weekend or something. So if there's some open houses and you're interested in those open houses and your agent isn't available to help you, to go see them, or you don't want your agent to come with you because you're not really sure when you're going to get there or that kind of stuff, and you want to be more flexible, then just let your agent know, hey, I'm going to drop in some open houses, and then that way they know what's going on. If there's not an open house, then your only other option, if your own agent isn't able to take you to the house, your option would be to call other agents, but that's really not advisable because you're working with someone else. So if it's an open house and you just want to drop in the open house, no problem. But if you need to get another agent to let you in, then that's, typically frowned upon.
I understand.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And if you're in contract with your agent, your buyer's agent, if you're in a buyer's agency agreement where you've got to work with them on whatever property, you've actually got to clear things with them if you try to go to another agent.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that so well.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. Great question.
Thank you. My next question is, how can I schedule a home tour?
Okay, so if you've got your own agent, so there's a couple of things going on. You may be working with your own buyer's agent, or you might be working like directly with a listing agent. So in the case of if you have your own buyer's agent and there's a house that you want to go see, your agent is going to schedule all of that for you. They're going to set up the time that you're going to meet there at the house, and they're going to have a way to access things to get inside the house. Typically, the owners, whoever lives there, typically they've left. Sometimes they're kind of hanging around, but most of the time they've left, and so you've got your time there. So that would be how you would schedule it through your own buyer's agent. Now, and they have access to any home that's on the multiple listing service. So, they've got access to just about, everything. If you're going through the listing agent, so in other words, you don't have your own buyer's agent, then if you're going through the listing agent, you would have to contact each listing agent individually to say, hey, I'm interested in this specific house. You're the listing agent. Would you let me, take a look at it?
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to depend on if you're working with a buyer's agent or not. And then if it's a for sale by owner, if it's a FSBO, there's no agents involved at all, so you're just dealing directly with the homeowner.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So it's a little different their way.
Okay. Are kids allowed to go on home tours?
They are. Kids are allowed on home tours. A lot of times people bring their kids along. Sometimes they don't, just whatever, is preferred for you. And, but yeah, kids are allowed.
Thank you. And then also, is there a limit to how many people I can bring on the home tour?
No, not really. There's really no limit. And if there are people involved in, you getting the loan, and they want to have some kind of say-so over, the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like we see sometimes where there might be a parent that's providing a gift, or a parent that's co-signing, and this is going to be a home, for the kid to live in, and they want to have some say-so about the home because they're putting some money in, or they're putting their name on the loan or whatever. So if you've got other people that are involved and they are going to be involved in that decision, it's best just to get them all out there. So don't be afraid of taking, everybody that you need to take. And the same thing goes, even if the person isn't going on the loan, but maybe they're going to be paying, rent, boarder income. They're going to be paying for a room, and they've got to approve of the place because they want to approve of the room. We see that sometimes where parents want the kids to really, like the rooms that they get, so the kids have a little bit of a say-so over things. So don't be afraid to, take everybody out to look at the homes, because if you go out on a Saturday and you see something that you love, but you've got to come back on a Sunday or a Monday to bring everybody else, the house could be under contract by then. You never know. So you always want to be in a position to where you're able to act fast if you do want to make an offer. And to do that, it's a good idea to get everybody, looking at the homes that's going to, be involved.
Thank you. I think I would bring everyone.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah. And even if the person doesn't have a say-so in it, in the house, the buyer, may just trust that person's opinion. It could be a close friend, it could be a family member, or whatever. And, maybe they just want somebody else along to kind of give them another perspective, since they, already trust this person, and sometimes they're working with the realtor and they haven't known that realtor for very long, so there still could be some trust issues there.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Okay. How do I tour a home when people are still living there?
Okay, so when people are still living in the house, they will have an arrangement with their realtor on how they want the house to be shown. So they'll have like specific times that they're willing to make the home available and times that they're not. So so sometimes people will be like, Monday through Friday, I'm trying to get the kids off to school. I don't want to be dealing with anything, anybody coming into our house until the kids are at school. So sometimes, a person will say Monday through Friday, no showings until 9 a.m. or later. Some people might say, oh, we don't want any showings after 6 p.m. or after 8 p.m. or whatever. So the seller is going to communicate that to the listing agent, and then the listing agent is going to kind of, coordinate all of the schedule of the showings so that it fits into the seller's schedule. So, and then typically the seller is going to leave the house at the time of the appointment. So if you have an appointment at 1 o'clock, typically when you get there at 1, you're going to meet your own buyer's agent, and then the buyer's agent has access to a key to open the house. And so now, the seller knows that somebody's going to be there at 1 o'clock, so they're not there. So typically, a lot of times they've already left. And so when you get there, the house is pretty much just kind of vacant. A lot of sellers nowadays are putting up cameras so they can kind of see what's going on. People are kind of nervous about people, taking their stuff or looking through their stuff, which is understandable.
Yeah.
So, so you pretty much just go through the house and you take a look around. And if there's anything visible that you have questions about, like there might be a crack in the stucco, or there might be, where maybe you have a question about the ceiling, where there's a stain and you wonder if that was some kind of, leak from the roof. So you can go through and you can check out the house and prepare any questions that you've got and that kind of thing. But that's basically how it works. They know when you're going to be there, and then they're out of the house, and they give you enough time to look around and
That's
such.
awesome.
Usually, usually like 30 minutes
30
or so
minutes.
is enough time to see a house.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that kind of answers my next question, but my next
What
question,
was it anyway? Let's hear it.
it was, what's the latest time I can tour a home?
Yeah, and that's, again, as you figured out, that's going to depend on the seller. Some sellers are going to be like, we don't care, we just want to get this place sold. The sooner somebody sees it, the better. So sometimes people have a really wide range of hours. Sometimes they're more particular, where they're like, I don't want anybody upsetting the kids. I don't want anybody dealing with us in the morning. We're trying to get to school and to work and things like that. So it's going to be individual based on the seller and what they're allowing.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And I believe that's
Was that your last question?
Yes, that was.
All right, so hang around, guys. We've got something else here. Since we're talking about step 4 of the 9 steps, which is touring homes, you're basically finding homes that you want to see. Normally, you're finding them online, Zillow, Realtor.com, any of those kind of sites, or you might see some homes. You're just driving around. You might see some new construction signs where it says, new homes in the 600s, that kind of thing. You might be driving around in a neighborhood that you've always wanted to live in, and all of a sudden, you see a for sale sign that went up. So, touring homes is this step of the process is about finding homes that you want to see, and then going out there and looking at them in person. Whether that be at an open house or with your own realtor, or however you're going about doing this. So this is a time I wanted to point out a few things. When you're talking to your realtor, there's a lot of back and forth at this point with your agent if you're using a buyer's agent. And some of that back and forth might be about the condition of the home or the type of home that you want. And so, for example, if you were looking for fixer-upper, specifically fixer-upper is what I want to talk about. So if you were looking for a fixer-upper, be sure that when you're talking to your agent about fixer-uppers, that your agent really understands what you're looking for. To some people, fixer-upper means, I'm going to put up, I'm going to paint. That's a fixer-upper to some people. To other people, they're good with like ripping up the floors, ripping up the kitchen, tearing out the bathrooms and replacing all of that stuff. Some people are good with like tearing down a wall and adding on to the house. Those are all different levels of projects and all different levels of fixer-upper. So at this stage, one of the things that you're doing, like I just mentioned, is you've got to find the homes that you want to go see, and then hopefully you're going to look at homes that you'd actually be interested in. So make sure when you're talking to your realtor at this stage, and you guys are just getting to know each other, that you're really clear about the kind of home that you're looking for. If you're using language like fixer-upper, for example. So that's, one thing I wanted to point out, because we do want to make this go smooth for you. And, touring homes is a lot of fun, but it's just like every other step in this process, it's work, and you've got an objective. You're not just going out there to tour homes, you're going out there to find the one that you're going to secure. You're going to get the winning offer, and you're going to close on that house and live in that house for however long. So it's an important step. So make sure that when you're talking with your realtor, you're communicating about what it is that you really, really want. Another thing that I wanted to point out that makes this a smoother process is in some situations during this step number 4, it may be necessary for you to reach out to your loan officer. Like, let's say, for example, you're looking at a home and it has a homeowners association fee, and you weren't planning on buying a property with a homeowners association fee. So how is that fee going to affect how you qualify for the loan? And that's one reason you might want to bring the loan officer in when you see a specific home. You tour a home and it has a HOA, you might reach out to the loan officer to find out, hey, is this going to cause any problem with my qualifying? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and then another thing too with the loan officer, maybe you were looking at single family homes, but now you're considering a condo, and you want to find out if there's any change to the type of program, because some condominium complexes require, some loan programs like FHA require that the condominium complex actually be approved prior by the FHA, and not all complexes are. Also too, if you switch from a single family home to a condo and you're using a conventional loan, sometimes the interest rate is higher because it's a condo. So those are reasons that you might want to pull your loan officer in if you start looking at properties that are a little bit different than what you had been, quoted before with your home loan quotes. This one we kind of talked about earlier. If you've got a lot of decision makers, people that are going to be involved in deciding, hey, this is the house that we want to, make an offer on, get them all along on the tour if possible. That was a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then like we said, get everybody on the same page too about the type of home. Sometimes you'll get everybody out there, looking at the houses, but nobody can agree on what type of house. Sometimes, these folks want an older home, other half of them want a newer home, or some of them want a bigger yard, some of them want a smaller yard. So you gotta, at some point, get everybody on the same page. That doesn't always happen right away. So sometimes we'll, just show people a few homes, even though, we know that, only half of them are interested in that home. Because if we show enough homes, usually 2 or 3, eventually they'll kind of figure out how to come to whatever compromise that they got to
Okay.
come to. So that's another thing. So give it some time. If you can't all get along, just be sure you all go out there and look at the houses together, and eventually it'll kind of work itself out. That's usually the way it goes. And new construction, we really didn't talk about it on here, but if you're going to tour new construction, it's a lot of fun. There's model homes, so usually the builder might have, say, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 different models, usually more like 4 or 5 models. And the models are decorated really nice, so it's a lot of fun to go out there and see the brand new homes. And if you decide that you want to purchase one of those, they'll have an agent that's on site that kind of writes up all of their paperwork. But you can also have your own agent. If you are going to go tour homes and you're going to go look at new construction homes, be sure, and if you have an agent, be sure you take your agent with you, because if you don't take your agent with you on that first visit, then they won't allow the agent to represent you and get paid later.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's new construction. And if you guys want to know where to find new construction homes, you can go to newhomesource.com, or you can also go fill out the form that we've got at showcasenewconstruction.com, and that's for new construction homes, hot list. Since we're talking about touring homes, let's say that you're looking for homes, your realtor is looking for homes for you, you're on Zillow all the time, and you're just not finding anything that fits in your home buying criteria. Don't get frustrated, just try expanding your criteria a little bit, maybe going a little bit further out, maybe going with like 3 bedrooms and an office instead of 4 bedrooms. So looking at different options, maybe going, considering townhouses as well as single family homes. So when you widen your criteria, it's a good place to start if you're a few weeks into this process and you haven't really found any homes that you even want to go see. So if you're kind of running dry on finding the homes that you want to go see, widen your criteria. Does that make sense? Okay,
Perfect.
cool. And then I would say the last thing, and then we'll tackle that viewer question, but the last thing I wanted to point out in this step is if you are beginning to encounter any problems at all with your buyer's agent, so the agent that's working for you, if you start to encounter any problems, they're not showing up for the appointments on time, they're always making excuses as to why they can't show this house or that house or whatever, or they start like not returning your calls very promptly or not returning your texts promptly. Now is the time to confront any issues like that, because if you stick with this agent and you get into escrow, it's probably just going to be like more of the same, from that agent. There's no reason to really expect that it's going to get better. So, you're either going to need to, confront that person and come up with some kind of solution for them to get back on track, back in your good graces. Because remember, you're the client, they work for you, not the other way around. So you're either going to have to, get things back on track with that agent, or you're going to have to cut them loose. And like we talked about a little bit earlier, if you're in a buyer's agency agreement, you'll have to get out of that agreement as well. So that's a lot about touring homes. Step number 4 of the 9 steps to buy a house. We want to cover a viewer question, but first, let's cut away and check out a couple of great offers that we have for you guys. Hey, it's Brian at Showcase Agency. If you're going to buy a home and you're thinking, man, I'm taking out this giant loan and making this huge commitment, and I just want to go with my best option, then we've got 2 great offers for you. The first is the Beginner's Guide to First-Time Home Buying. If you're going to buy your first home, it takes 9 steps. 9 steps to go from renting to owning. This comprehensive guide covers all 9 steps in detail. You can download it for free at showcasefreeguide.com. The second offer is a discovery call with me or Karen. Either of us can answer every question you have about buying your first home, and we can direct you to additional resources we're sure you'll find helpful. There's no pressure, no sales pitch, there's no obligation or hassle. You can sign up at showcasecall.com. And just because it's another 6 months or a year before you're ready to buy, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be thinking about it now and planning ahead. Pick up our free guide for first-time homebuyers at showcasefreeguide.com and schedule a discovery call so we can go over your plans and timeline together. We can answer all of your questions, and we'll send you links to additional resources you'll find helpful. Go to showcasecall.com.
And we're back. Thank you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And let's get right into our viewer question. All right. So we close soon. What do I bring with me on closing day?
Awesome. Congratulations. It's an exciting time. It's time to close. And by closing, what we mean is you're going to have a big stack of papers to sign, ink sign. So this isn't an electronic signature. You actually are going to have old school, paper to sign. And you're going to meet with a notary. And the notary is a person that's going to make sure that you are who you say you are. So the thing to bring to the closing is going to be 2 forms of ID because the notary is going to need to see 2 forms of ID to verify that you are who you are. So that's all you got to bring. They should supply a pen for you. Be sure that you're ready to sign and that your wrist is ready because you're going to sign a lot of times. But that's all you need is just 2 forms of ID.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So hope you guys enjoyed this today. We enjoyed shooting this for you. Hope you learned some things about touring homes. And if you're going to buy a house and you've got questions, we'd love to answer them for you. You can text or call us at 949-518-0742. And also, too, check out our free guide for first-time homebuyers at showcasefreeguide.com.
Awesome. And if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and comment them down below, and we'll be sure to answer them in one of our videos. And also, please subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and turn on your post notifications to see when we upload next.
Yeah, perfect. We'll see you next time. Take care.